Guys, how's it going? Welcome back. So this is going to be one video, so it'll probably end up, I don't know, maybe a half an hour long in the end, but I want to do it in one chunk just so you don't have to find a gazillion different parts, because that's just ridiculous. Anyway, so a lot of you may recall I picked up a J-Tercer electric guitar with a Fender amp, which that amp is now dead, but you know, I guess I saved it for a little while. Now it's actually a speaker cab and hooked into another one. But anyways, so a lot of you also know I'm not a real huge fan of J-Tercer machines either. However, this one came with some nice frets, came with Grover tuners, which is nice. It was a trade deal, so I don't really care. I'm going to try cleaning up this pick guard. I was going to just replace it, but I'm going to try cleaning it up first and seeing if that, you know, is better to go with, because I did like the sound of these pickups. So we'll see what happens there. However, I've redressed and crowned the frets. They turned out great. Just beautiful job. So not bad for my first time doing that sort of thing, for crowning anyways. I've done fret ends, and they're pretty easy. But I've never actually done a crowning job, and this turned out just awesome. So I'm very happy with that. And the frets are so smooth, that's crazy. Anyway, so we're going to refinish the body on this one. Because although it was kind of like a nice idea, but it's got, you know, like a little bit of, you know, chips here and there, and it just looks kind of ugly, and I don't feel like buffing it. And the color really doesn't amuse the hell out of me either. Now this is also a right-handed guitar, which is going to stay right-handed. The profile of the headstock is going to be completely altered. J-Tercer is coming off there because when I'm done with this, it's basically a customized guitar is what it's going to be in the end. Which, believe it or not, actually ups the value of guitars, I found out. So I'm like, ooh, that's kind of good news. But I may yet be ordering some custom parts for it. We'll see how it goes with the pickguard cleanup. Now, I went over to my favorite paint shop today, and I'm going to be going with this metallic blue. And it's a really nice blue. I really like it. And of course it is metallic, which is nice. So I got a couple cans of that. Some clear coat. Of course, you know, the usual junk sandpaper, tape, and all that jazz. And of course primer. So I'm going to take you through this process. We're going to strip things down and just do a little stage here, a little stage there, so you can see how the progress goes. So you see a little bit of everything on how it's all done, in case you've been wanting to do this. Now this does have some nice wood grain from the looks of what I'm seeing through here. And I thought, well, maybe I should just clear coat the wood after, because I've done that before, but that's the problem. I've done it before. So I want different, right? The neck is going to get completely deglossed. You know, I want that right deglossed and smooth it out. I'm actually going to change the profile of the neck a little bit too. And like I said, the headstock is going to be totally different when I'm finished. And then we're going to refinish the maple wood on this and make her look like $1 million. Okay, so this is all instant for you. So there you go. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. So it is time to start the refinishing process in the shop here of our J-Tercer, which will no longer be a J-Tercer, nor will it even look like one when I'm done with her. Anyways, so we've got basically what this is it's a stained body with a lacquer coating, and they call this like a wine red. Whoa. Anyway, so not a bad color, but you know, this guitar is in rough shape, so we need to fix that problem. So I'm going to take you through little bits by little bits through the video course to show you how I'm doing this. So the first thing I'd like to do is take care of this neck. I think we need to do some chopping. Okay, so let me just turn the camera over here towards the bandsaw, and we'll get down to business with that. I gotta uncover everything in here because I still gotta fix my roof. Alright, I'm just gonna get in your way a little bit, I know. So, good and tight. Everything's good to rock there. All right. Kind of a good start. I wanted to make sure the string trees are going to stay in line good. So that's going to be kind of a unique looking shape. So we're going to take a little bit off the top edge here as well. So that's going to be our general profile. So I'm going to have to sand all this, of course, and bevel these edges in, round them out, front and back. But I think that's kind of a neat little shape. I'm kind of doing this on the fly. I didn't have a particular shape or anything in mind. I just thought, let's just do it on the fly, because that's what makes it also a one-of-a-kind for sure. Okay? Anyways, bye-bye parts. So, back to the body here. So I'll just turn the camera back around for you. Alright. So we're going to start with 80 grit and take her with less and less from there. I should mention too, when you're using sanders like palm sand or whatever, don't put a lot of pressure. Let the sander do the work. It also saves you from a lot of overclogging of your sandpaper too. And you're also wanting to keep you don't want to make big dips in your wood, so don't press hard. Some kind of a spider or something in here. Anyways, God, I hate bugs. So I'll come back when I've got this down to a little bit of wood. You can see some is starting to show now. So as I said, it's just a stain with, you know, some Varathane on it. So don't go away. It's instant for you. Okay guys, it's been about 20-25 minutes and I've gone through 2/4 sheets of 80 grit so far. Got the top cleaned off pretty good. Started doing some of the sides here. Slowly coming, a little bit of the back. So we're going to move to the back, finish off the back, finish the sides off. Then we're going to move to our next grit down And of course all the final sanding is going to have to be done by hand, because you got to follow the contours, which the sander won't do. So even some of the stuff that is still going to be left behind has to be sanded by hand. So that's a bit of a chore, but we're getting there. So yeah, it's looking pretty good. Now the reason why you have to take this back down to bare wood, especially if there's a stain, is you want to get as much of that stain out as possible, because you don't know if it's an oil stain or what kind of stain it is. And when you're going to paint, because that's what we're doing in this case, we're painting, but even if we're going to restain, we want to get out as much of that old stain as possible so it doesn't, you know, the new stuff doesn't get screwed up by it. But even with painting, any kind of an oily stain, if there's too much of it present, your primer won't even stick in spots and you're just going to destroy your paint job. So, you know, you want to get off as much as you possibly can. And doing this on a solid body guitar is not a big deal. You know, doing it on like an acoustic guitar, you know, or a semi-hollow body, that's going to be a totally different bottle of wax, and you won't even be using a palm sander for those. You'll be doing that all by hand. So, but anyways, don't go away, innocent for you. Alright guys, so we got the back done, front done, started on the sides a little bit here and there. We're getting there slowly. The back took better than twice as long. There was so much Verithin on the back of this, plus the stain was a little deeper in. Still a little bit left in there, but it'll all come out with the next bit of sanding. So how we're going to attack the sides is with the sander. I don't have any paper on here right now, but hopefully you can see this. And you're going to just contour around the wider parts, right, and the back side. And in here, the rest of this is all got to be done by hand, especially on the back here of the heel where the neck goes in. That's got to be all done by hand, all in there, because you don't want to mess with that, right? And this is all going to get taped off on the inside, because I don't want to try, you know, sanding all that down. I don't need to anyway. It's not getting painted in there. So, and same with here. You do not want to get any paint inside the pocket. So, you know, that's a big thing. But anyways, so it's coming along. So we're going to continue on with some 80 grit for the rest of the sides. And then we'll get it all done up by hand for the rest of that. Give it a fine sanding. Some of it's going to be with the machine, of course, and then all the rest of it will be finished off by hand, especially all around the outside. That'll all be finished by hand. I worked on profiling the neck a little bit better for the headstock. So now I've got something to start with that I can sand the rest of this all by hand in here. So that'll all be finished off by hand. And yeah, so it's starting to come together. And of course I'm going to change the profile of the neck. I'm actually going to try and get a flat spot going right up the middle. This is going to allow people too with smaller hands to be able to play better at the same time. But it's also going to create another alteration to the neck that is required. But it won't be very much of a flat spot. Just a bit of one, kind of like the way my court was done. And that was done at the factory that way. So I want to do the same sort of thing here and then get rid of the rest of this Verithin. And we'll probably just recoat the neck in Verithin and give it a nice bit of a polish up and make sure everything's nice and pretty when it's finished. So anyways, hey, you know the drill. All one video, so don't go away. Okay guys, I wanted to show you this just so that you know that this is something that's important to know about when you're stripping down a guitar body like this. When it comes to the sanding on these outside edges, you're going to have to put a little extra pressure. And what you want to do is try and use an edge at a time, okay, as you're going around. This way you get the most use out of your sandpaper. Don't mind the noise for a second. If I remember, I'll try and dull the audio for that. Now exactly how you saw me doing that is the way you'd want to do it, because you want to try and get it stripped down fairly quickly, but little bits at a time, so you don't, take out too much wood, right? Because you are going to change the contour shape a little bit when you're sanding, especially this. This is probably basswood. It's pretty light stuff, and it actually looks a lot like basswood. But anyway, so you can see that takes it down fairly quickly, and you don't want to spend too much time in one spot, and you want to go back and forth, then a little bit like this sort of thing, type of thing, and that'll help take it down. Put a little bit of extra pressure than what you did on the top, but take your time, especially with the top and the bottom. Take your time with this. There's no rush. You don't want to dig into the wood or misshape it and make it all look weird, unless of course that's what you're going for. By all means, knock yourself silly. But I want to try and keep this as flat and contoured as possible. And we still have 220 grit and 400 grit to go through yet. So if I did make any kind of deformities that right now I can't really see, then, I'm going to be taking it very slow, doing the 220 and the 400, and we'll show you that too. And so that we get the best, possible shaping out of this. And then all the rest of this is going to be finished off by hand, especially around the edges, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that as well, so that you know how to do this. I mean, if you're going to get this sort of thing done by a shop, and even just getting the body done, and repainted and everything, you're going to be looking at a few $100s, But do this yourself, and with painting it, and of course the clear coat, you're going to want your clear coat on there to protect your main paint. I mean, I only spent 90 bucks Canadian for all my paint, primer, clear coat, sandpaper, and I'll probably still have extra sandpaper left. I'm definitely going to have extra paint and clear coat, and you always double up, just because you don't know how many coats it's really going to take to get exactly that look you're after too. So, and the cans are only so big, so, these weren't cans that I had mixed, which are usually like twice as much paint per can. So, of course, I bought 2 cans, so I know I'm safe. But, anyways, we'll continue on. So, hey, instant for you. Okay, guys, all the 80 grit stuff is done. And a little bit of 220. In here is where I told you is going to be the big bugger. It's going to be done by hand. I still got a little bit more to do on each side, but otherwise, everything else is done. So, in the meantime, I'm going to take a break from manual sanding and get on with the 220 on the main surface and start smoothing that out. And then I'll go back to the 220 on those corners and finish them off, get them all cleaned up, and then we'll move on to the 400 grit and get that finished. And you know what? I still got lots of daylight left. So I'm thinking I'm going to get a chance to actually get the primer on this thing today, which will be really awesome. And so I can get a couple coats on there, let it sit overnight, give her a sand down tomorrow, maybe another coat if I need it, see how smooth it comes out. And hey, maybe even out to hit it with paint tomorrow, who knows. So 220 grit, same deal. You're just going over top of everything you did to clear off all the varathane and stain or paint. Now if you do have a guitar that is painted, I mean, it takes a while to sand no matter which way you go, but hang on. Okay guys, all the 80 grit's now done, and some of the 220 actually. I still have a little bit left over in the inside pockets. This area here you cannot get with this sander, and I wouldn't suggest using a drum sander either. Do it by hand, okay? Otherwise you're going to really mess things up, because drum sander bites into the pocket. It's going to mess it all up on you. So you got to do that actually by hand. And just take some 220, fold it over, back and forth. So I got a little bit left over to do in there, but I'm taking a break from that. My fingers are getting sore. So I'm going to go on with the 220 grit, and you just start over, same process as where you started with to begin with, and just sand it down with the 220 now, because now all these fibers in the wood are open. The pores are all open, the wood fibers are up, and you can't just wipe that down and spray it. It's going to look like crap, so you want to go to 220 next. We'll go do the 220, and then we're going to do a lot of hand shaping with the 220, Then we're going to hit the 600 on it. And 600 is as far as I'm going to go with this. I don't think you need to go any further myself, because we're not doing a polishing job on the body and varathane, so we're going to paint. So 600 is more than sufficient as a finisher, and we'll be doing 600 by hand too after we've gone contouring and stuff with it. We're going to do all the rest of it by hand and really smooth it out nice. Anyways, I'll get this going and we'll catch up and continue on. Okay guys, 220's done. Inside corners are finally done. God, that was a lot of friggin' sanding by hand. Doing the 220, by the way, is going to go by really quick for you because you've already stripped everything. So next stage is 600. And it shouldn't take you more than 1/4 sheet of 600 to finish the smoothing out. I also did some manual hand sanding with the 220, going around all these contours, because I've rounded all of this out now, so it's not squarish anymore, and even got a little bit more of a roundness on the inside of the horns here. It's going to be a little bit more comfy for playing. Added a little bit of a slight bevel on the bottom edge here, you know, and that's going to work out really good, I think. I still got to blow all the holes free before I start painting, but you know, no big there. Get all that sawdust out, because we don't want that mixed in with our paint. So anyway, so the 600, it's going to be same process. Just go over it, and you know, you can feel the difference. Like, I can still feel a little bit of roughness, right? Just a little bit, because it's 220. So I'll go over the 600 and I'll show you just exactly what it takes to get that smooth. About that much, and that is really nice and smooth now. And you can start seeing the wood grains popping a lot more too. Now when you are doing your final sanding, go with the grain. Okay, so the grain's going this way, that's the way you're going to go. And you're going to be doing hand sanding too, so I would probably suggest grabbing some 600 right away and doing all your edging and stuff first. Get all this done in here, then you don't have to worry about it after. So, and it won't take much. It's just a matter of getting the rest of that area smoothened out really nice. So once you've got all that all done, you know, get into this area too. And don't worry about going into this pocket area either, because that's the part going up against your body there. Do that with the sandpaper by hand, so you can get into this edging really nice. Okay. And same with the horns. The horns, you're going to have to do that area manually, which is not a big deal. It won't take much. Okay. Not much at all. And you'll get this really nice. And if you're happy with your results, then de-dust it, blow the holes clean of any sawdust that's in there, because like I said, you don't want that mixed in with your paint, you know. And wipe it down with a dry rag. So get a couple of dry rags and wipe the body down so no more sawdust comes into the rags. So it's going to take you a couple of rags, no big deal. Okay. And you can use anything you want for a rag as long as you do it very, very lightly, because you don't want to scratch the wood. Even though you're going to prime it and paint it probably, or you may restain, you don't want those lines showing through, right? Especially if you're staining. So just go very, very gentle with any rags that you do use to get the dust off. If you do have an air compressor, you can use air and blow all the dust off. But you're still not going to get it all off. You're still going to have to wipe it a few times, because dust goes up into the air. Okay, it's going to come right back down at you. So you're best to probably not use an air compressor. But I would suggested to get all the holes clean, you know, use the air compressor for that and blow the majority of the dust off, but do the rest with rags. But if you don't have a compressor, well, you're on your own. You're doing it all with rags, which is not a huge thing to do. Like I said, get all these contours done. Okay, so we'll see when it's time to prime this puppy. Don't go away. It's instant for you. Okay guys, we're ready to prime this sucker. So I've bolted a chunk of wood onto the guitar because there's already a hole through there anyway. And of course you don't see it when the plate is on there, when the neck's there. Kind of handy if you ask me. But anyway, so I had to cover some stuff up because I really don't feel like having primer overspray on certain things. So let's throw on some primer here. Now the primer I'm using, because this is wood, don't use etching primer. That's for metal only. This is just sandable primer for automotive. This is basic stuff, okay, for basic primer. It's not a elaborate primer like etching primer is. Etching primer is good for like metal and stuff, just not very good for wood. I've tried it before and it doesn't stick well, but this stuff actually does. And you can also use the cheapest crap that Walmart sells, or Canadian Tire, or your local hardware store, wherever you happen to live. But anyways, even cheap primer will do the job. The idea here is you don't want to put a big thick coat of primer on. You want enough primer that it coats it so that it can bite in and the final paint can actually stick. Now, depending on the color you're going with, I went with a metallic blue, so gray primer is just fine for that. But some paints actually require a different color. Like if you're going to do fire engine red, for example, you actually have to use a green primer for that, believe it or not. Otherwise, the color won't turn out proper. So that's our first coat, and it's a light coat. It's going to soak into the wood. So we're going to let that dry for about 10 minutes, because it's about all the time this paint needs actually. 18 to 32 degrees Celsius we're good with. Ventilated area, yep. And they suggest using 600 grit sandpaper, which we have, to sand it once you've done all your primering, to give it a smooth finish in case you get any like little bubbles and stuff like that stick up type of thing. And then if you want, you can shoot another final coat. Very light coats though, remember. And anyways, we shall continue on. So hey, instant for you. Hey guys, alright, so now we're ready to shoot some blue, which is pretty awesome because it's going to rain like hell tomorrow, and next free day is Wednesday, and I'm busy Wednesday, so we're going to try and get this done tonight, or at least the main paint, and then I can let it sit for a couple days and then clear coat it. Should actually move my pop out of the way. I don't think I want to overspray on my pop. You gotta go light coats with this stuff and build up the solid. And be quick about it, just the way I'm doing it here. Okay, so that's coat number 1 on there. So we'll be back for the next coat. Don't go away. Instant for you. Okay guys, so we've got approximately 5 coats of paint on this now. And so now it's got to sit, and the temperature's starting to drop, so I got to let it sit for at least an hour. So in the meantime, I got to find a place to hang this sucker up in the house, because it's going to have to cure for the next couple of days. I'm not going to get it all done in one day like I thought I was going to. When I get back to it, I've seen that there's a few imperfections that are showing up now that the paint is there, because you can see more once you have the paint. And so I'm going to be giving those areas a light sanding over, and the rest of it to just, you know, just smooth it out. And then we're going to put a few more coats of paint on, let that cure up, and make sure everything's good and smooth. And if it is, then we'll definitely be hitting the clear coat tour and getting it all cleared up with, oh, I don't know, several coats anyways. I want this thing to pop and blow, so, you know, I want it to really just go boom with the eyes, you know. And so far it's looking pretty sick, so pretty impressed. So hey, instant for you guys. Okay guys, so it's sat overnight to dry in the house and keep the temperature under control. And of course, after inspecting, once you put some paint on there, 5 coats, you'll see if you've got any defects or not. And of course we had some, which is fine, because you just sand those out with a little bit of 240 very gently, okay? And then some 600 to finish it after that. So you can see here, you know, where I've gone over it, there was some spots, and so we took care of all that, and now it's ready to go again. So we got to make sure we wipe this down really good, and with a clean, well, in this case a towel, and make sure that it's all de-dustified, and we'll hang her back up. And I got another brand new can, 5 coats of paint, by the way, on a standard Strat body, because it's basically Strat copy, same thing. There's most of the can, actually. There was only about maybe this much left in the first can, so I brought the brand new can out, so we're going to start with it and finish with it too. And so anyways, let me get this hung up. We'll slam a coat on there, and I got to do about every 10 minutes, and we'll see what she looks like in the end. And hey, don't go away, you guys. You know, it's instant, right? So right on. Okay guys, the first coat of the new coats are on, and you can tell how things actually will start to go on. When you sanded areas and you've got primer coming through again, you know, those areas you're starting over pretty much on once again. So you've got to allow flash time between coats. Now with automotive paint, it's about 10 minutes between coats, and that also of course varies on temperature outside. And between the outside temperature today and the inside temperature in here, we're going to go about 10 minutes between coats. And after I'm completely done, 1 full hour of flash time, and then I can start using clear coat. So, and then the clear coat's going to be the same thing. It's 10 minutes between coats, and of course, like I said, temperature dependent. And then when you're all done, you want to let that sit for at least 24 hours before you even get a fingerprint near it. Like, seriously, I'm not joking you. Okay? And then if you do have, you know, any spots where it didn't come out completely like liquidy, glossy, right? You can use more clear coat, but they tell you you've got to wait X amount of time, depending on the kind of clear coat you're using, before you can use clear coat again, right? And that also means no fingerprints allowed on the body at all. Like 1 little fingerprint, the oil off your hands screws it for you completely. It'll blister the clear coat. So you want to, you know, be mindful of that. Your other option is you can buff out any of the rough areas, and with a polishing compound, a very light one, and you can actually buff the clear coat to a nice polished finish is another option you can use too. And on cars, what we use is it's called clay bar for getting rid of overspray, but it also helps blend in the new and the old together. In this case we're going all new, so we don't want to use the clay bar stuff on this. We want to actually buff this if we need to. And I don't have a, well, I think I do actually have a buffer. I'll have to check and see. That's, anyways, if I do, then we'll probably end up buffing it if necessary, because I really want this thing to totally rock. But anyways, onward we go. Don't go away. Okay, guys, the first coat of the new coats are on, and you can tell how things actually will start to go on. When you've sanded areas and you've got primer coming through again, you know, those areas you're starting over pretty much on once again. So you've got to allow flash time between coats. Now with automotive paint, it's about 10 minutes between coats. And that also, of course, varies on temperature outside. And between the outside temperature today and the inside temperature in here, we're going to go about 10 minutes between coats. And after I'm completely done, 1 full hour of flash time, and then I can start using clear coat. So, and then the clear coat's going to be the same thing. It's 10 minutes between coats, and of course, like I said, temperature dependent. And then when you're all done, you want to let that sit for at least 24 hours before you even get a fingerprint near it. Like, seriously, I'm not joking you. Okay? And then if you do have, you know, any spots where it didn't come out completely like liquidy, glossy, right? You can use more clear coat, but they tell you you've got to wait X amount of time, depending on the kind of clear coat you're using, before you can use clear coat again, right? And that also means no fingerprints allowed on the body at all. Like one little fingerprint, the oil off your hands screws it for you completely. It'll blister the clear coat. So you want to, you know, be mindful of that. Your other option is you can buff out any of the rough areas, and with a polishing compound, a very light one, and you can actually buff the clear coat to a nice polished finish is another option you can use too. And on cars, what we use is it's called clay bar for getting rid of overspray, but it also helps blend in the new and the old together. In this case, we're going all new, so we don't want to use the clay bar stuff on this. We want to actually buff this if we need to. And I don't have a, well, I think I do actually have a buffer. I'll have to check and see. That's, anyways, if I do, then we'll probably end up buffing it if necessary, because I really want this thing to totally rock. But anyways, onward we go. Don't go away. Okay guys, so we have yet another coat, and I'm going to give you some close-ups on this. This is starting to look really nice. That's looking really good. Really liking how that's turning out. This is why you sand out your defects. Still have a little bit more cover in here, so I think I'm going to have to leave the flash time a little longer. The back has turned out really nice. And the horns are the hard part to get at, but I think I'm getting her pretty good there. So I think probably about 1 or 2 more coats is about all I'm going to need, but I'm going to concentrate mostly on this side, because this side seems to be where it's going to need it the most. So we're going to let that set up for, I'm going to go 20 minutes, and just let that harden up really good. But yeah, that's looking really, really nice. Okay guys, we've almost seen the end of the paint. I just have another couple little swipes to do down the edges here, a little bit over here, because that's where we exposed a lot of primer and wood when we sanded it. So of course it sucks it in, right? So we're going to build that area up, and at the same time keeping everything level. But it looks like it's coming out really, really smooth. I'm really liking how that's coming out. I love spray bombs. Anyway, The clear coat I'm using is actually new to me. I usually don't buy this, but that's all they had at the auto place. And it's called Evercoat Cut and Clear UV Resistant Clear Coat. High gloss and depth. This should be interesting. And apparently fast dry within 30 minutes. So that doesn't mean I'm going to touch it either for a couple of days, you know. But I'm going to make darn sure that it's nice and smooth before I, you know, go and touch it. But, you know, it's looking, it might be a pretty good stuff. But I do have 2 cans of this in case I do need it. I shouldn't, though, because you always go through less clear coat than you do actual paint. And hey, I mean, come on, compare the size here, you know. This has got like, what, 14.9 ounces of weight compared to 312 grams. So this would be 423 grams. So you got a lot more clear coat here than you do paint. So we should be okay with just the 1 can, which would actually be kind of awesome. But if you're wondering what the exact color of this blue is, the number is 1026, okay, on the can of plastic coat, and it's GM Light Blue Metallic is what it's called. And it's a nice blue. But this can is my second can. It's almost emptied, and I brought this one out just in case, because like I said, right now I'm just working on the lines, you know, just on the edges, and that's it, because everything else looks really good here. It's looking really smooth, you know, and of course, it doesn't get a glossy texture until you add on the clear. So, anyways, like I said, a couple more coats. I'm going to let it sit there for an hour to flash up after I'm done finally. Oh, I hope so. And then we'll get on with clear coating, and you'll see a night and day difference. Like, it's just going to go boom. It's going to pop really nice. And awesome. So, hey, as usual, don't go away. Okay guys, so it looks like all the painting is finally done. You do not want to know how many coats it took. I'll tell you anyways. It was about 10 more coats going up the side here, and about another 6 or 7 here along this side, because like I said, that's where we exposed a bit of the wood in the primer when we had to sand it down first, and that's fine. And it's looking like it's all nice and solid now. So I've got to let this thing set. Well, let's see what time it is now. It's 4:21. So I'm going to let it go to 5:30, even though I don't need to let it go quite that long. But I'm going to let it go to 5:30, and then we're going to come out and we're going to start doing the clear coating and see this thing jump to life with a nice glossy finish. Because clear coat really makes a difference. Because when you look at the paint here, I'm going to bring you close up here, so just give me a second. And oh, you can see the difference in the color, right? So kind of, it's not shiny, you know, type of thing. It's kind of dull, really. It's almost like a satiny finish is what this paint does, right? Looks really good though. Very happy with the way it turned out. That's really awesome. But anyway, so you can see it's kind of like a satiny finish. So when we hit the gloss on that from the clear coat, it's actually going to alter the color a bit because of the clear coat, and it's going to make everything pop, including that metallic that's in the paint. That should really make it pop, especially once it's all dry and, you know, really buffed out nice, you know. That's going to really, really be awesome. So, and the neck, I've decided I'm going to just re-varathane the neck. I'm pretty sure anyways. It's looking that way, but we shall see. I still have time to make up my mind on that one. And I did actually decide to just allow the paint to go into here and make it all one color. This way you don't see any of the old stuff, you know, that old whiny red color. But yeah, it's looking really good, guys. So hey, don't go away. Clear coat's coming next. Okay, guys, we decided to go with varathaning the neck. First coat's on, and it's soaking in good. That's what happens when you take all the old varathane off. But yeah, I like the idea of varathane. I was talking to my wife, and I thought, you know, I could paint the neck. She's like, no, I'm like, yeah, I've seen it done before. It looked good, but the only problem is I'm out of blue to match the body. So it kind of wouldn't look right. But varathaning, that'll go good. So she taped off the fretboard for me, so it's all really good. So we're not going to have any of that stuff hitting the fretboard at all. And the tape we used is actually an automotive tape, so it's good stuff. So it's not going to be able to leak in anywhere. So, but that's what we got going on so far. So it's going to take a couple of coats of that, but that's okay. And it's got a longer set time than the paint does. So I was able to spray it outside and then bring it in here to hang. So, but no, not bad for the first coat. So we'll continue on. Okay guys, we are ready to put the first coat of clear coat onto the guitar body. And let me just get this thing twisted around here. Okay, so this kind of clear coat comes with a spray nozzle that you can actually alter the fan direction of how it sprays. So I've put it vertical on this one. Not all of them, by the way, go vertical to do this, but this will give me a wide spread. So as I go up and down the body, it's going to go in a wide fan pattern. Because you don't want it hitting dead on, because that would be a mess. So always check the direction first. So let's see this sucker pop some nice eye candy now. Wow, that's going to look really nice. Now, you got to go light coats with this, or you will get problems. And when you get close to those horns, keep your distance. Okay, so in 10 minutes we can do the next coat. Oh, is that ever looking nice even for the first coat? And that's just enough to touch it. So we still got a bunch more coats to go, but that is going to look absolutely sick when it is done. Wicked. Okay, so we shall have returned. Okay guys, second coat of clear coat is now on, and it's doing pretty good. We had one little small piece here. I don't know what the hell happened, but by the time the clear gets on there, we buffer. That should all but disappear. Otherwise, that's the only little blem that seemed to show itself, and that's fine. It's not going to be 100% perfect, dead on. You know, hey, stuff does happen, but the paint got plenty of flash time, you know, so no problem there. But like I said, this is also a brand of clear coat I've also never used before, and this is the Evercoat Cut and Clear. So hopefully everything comes out really awesome in the end. You can't really see it that well unless you're really, you know, you're looking on the angle. But that part is kind of a little, okay, well, it should blend in. But the rest of it's looking really, really good, actually. Let me just grab the camera here and I'll show you the front. So there's our front end here. Now, it's a little darker in here right now because I have a towel hanging up as a divider because I'm doing the neck over here. And that neck's looking pretty nice. It's going to take a few coats, and the Varathane takes a lot longer time to set than what the clear coat does, but you can't put straight automotive clear coat onto bare open pored wood, but Varathane you can. So, but and we don't want clear coat on the neck anyhow. So, but Varathane is just fine. So anyways, that's looking pretty good too. So we're making progress. So the next clip will have all the clear coat finishes on the body, and we'll remove the towel so that we can get all the lighting in here. But that's looking really nice. I'll show you a close-up of that area. Right in there. That's the only little blem. So that's pretty acceptable, I guess, considering, but you know, pretty decent. Looks alright. So we'll continue on. Okay guys, the neck is done. And I've been using a hair dryer actually, because Varathane takes so friggin' long to set up. But I've been using a hair dryer up and down the length of the neck and in the front, the back, sides to get this stuff to set quicker between coats, and also give me a lot better finish too. So there's a new little trick for you when you're working with Varathane. Something I figured I'd try, and it worked really good. So I got a really nice smooth finish happening on the neck, which is good. I like that. Now as for the body, it's not turning out as glossy as I would have thought it would have, especially considering this is a gloss clear coat. It seems more like a satiny clear coat to me, if you know. But the back actually looks nice and glossy. Maybe it's just the lighting. I don't know. We'll find out though, but it's done as far as I'm concerned. So you can see it kind of looks more dull there, but it looks really nice and brilliant here. So it could just be the lighting messing with my eyes, and of course the camera too, but we'll see after it's completely cured up. It's still probably going to need a buff job anyhow, but you know, still, yeah, I like it. It turned out really, really good. I'm really impressed with this body. So, and I'll definitely be doing more of these anyways. My one student actually wants to do his guitar since he saw me doing this one. So, but I don't think I'm going to use this clear coat again. Like I said, this is called Evercoat Cut and Clear. And it says right on the can, high gloss and depth. Well, I'll go for the depth, but high gloss, not looking like it. Now, I've used clear coat a lot on cars, and I'll tell you, you know, I mean, you got to put a few coats on there to get her going up. I mean, I've got like 6 coats of clear on here almost. I think I've got about 6 by now. And, you know, I don't know. The back, though, the back looks really good, you know. But the front is just, I don't know what it is. There's something about the front end on this thing. I don't know. But we'll see. We'll buff her out, and I'm sure it'll come out nice and glossy when we buff it. But as far as the metallic goes in this paint, it's not quite what I expected. I mean, it does have some, like little bits, but not quite what I was hoping for a metallic-based paint. But that's okay too. You know, I really like the color, so this is going to be a really nice guitar, and especially with the neck going back to being, you know, all maple and a nice Varathane finish on it. That's going to be really nice. You know, so it's going to be a really nice glossy neck, and I like the headstock style I did to it. That actually turned out really good too. Quite happy with that. So, well, I guess I'll have to pick up some more cheap junky guitars. Probably have to go to the pawn shop next. You know, I can get them there for about $70, $80, you know, so, and also got to get into refretting guitars, so I'm going to need a couple of victims. Anyways, so, the next video you shall see will be an actual video of this thing fully assembled again, and I have finally made up my mind, yes, sometimes you wonder. I'm going to order brand new hardware for this thing. I found a really nice Pro pick guard, and I'm going to throw some pickups as well. I'm not sure what yet for pickups, but I'm definitely going to be putting a different pick guard on this thing, different pickups. I think I'm going to go with cleaning up the hardware, like the bridge and the saddles. I'll clean those up and polish them up nice. And same with the boat for the jack. I'm gonna clean all that up and you know, make it look nice and pretty again. And this thing will look like $1,000,000 when it's done. And anyways, so that's the end of this video series for this part. You will, like I said, see a separate video when it's all completely reassembled, which will be in a while because I'm going to be ordering parts from China, so it's going to be a while to get the stuff. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you later.